to my messy desk where I am in panic mode because it is almost time to go back to school and have this mess. If you are anything like me, you are not the most organized person and did not very well utilize your summer to get your life together. So it is almost time for my semester to start again, and I need to get my life back in order. I'm going to show you guys how I use my bullet journal, how I set it up just to keep my life in order at least a little bit to keep myself from going crazy. The bullet journal, if you don't know, is a great way to keep yourself organized if you are not an organized person. It's kind of a planner you set up yourself. I'm going to put some links in the description about the basics of this, so you can check those out and read in detail if you're interested in how a lot of people do this and the theory behind this and how it really works. But I'm just going to show you the basics of how I set up mine. I've been using this method for quite a while. I kind of have my own system that works for me, and I kind of used all these other systems as guidelines, and as I went along, I figured out what worked for me and what didn't, and now I have a way that I set up my bullet journal specifically every time that works for me, and I'm going to show you how I do that. This doesn't have to be what works for you. If you have no clue what you're doing, this could be a good guideline, but there is by no means one way to do this. I'm in college where semesters are about 4 months each, and I have found that I like to have a different bullet journal for every 4 or 5 month period, so every semester. But since I'm going back to school soon, I wanted to start a new one. My old one's full. Here, I'll show you guys. It is a little beat up. So it's time for a new one. I do like to use thinner ones like this, but this time I'm doing something different. I found this adorable notebook at Target for like $6, I think. I don't recall, but it wasn't expensive. I was really drawn to it not only because of the cute pattern, but because it has graph paper and it already has like a date spot written up here, which is super cool. And I really like the graph paper. It's way easier to keep the look of your journal organized, but it's really up to you. I'll show you guys this in close-ups later, but it is just plain paper. But as you can see with that look, it tends to be kind of way more doodly and all over. And on pages like my key and my index, I wanted them to look more orderly, so I actually glued in scrap paper so that I would have a graph to go on. So this time, even though it's a little thicker than I normally go and it's a little different, I decided that I wanted one with graph papers. That was my choice. So that's your first step. Pick out your journal. It can be just like one of those line spiral notebooks, like a composition notebook you have lying around. You don't have to have anything fancy for this at all. This is so personal. I have a study blur, and I see pictures people have posted of their bullet journals all the time, and they look so good and so organized and so cute. And I feel so jealous, and I feel like, oh, I shouldn't even bother keeping one because mine is not going to look that good. But if you feel like that, you just need to get over it, because that's not what it's about. It's not about looking cute. So I'm going to show you guys some simple tips for making it look cute without putting in all the effort. Like, you don't have to buy the stickers, and you don't have to buy the washi tape, and like, whatever, you don't have to put a lot of money into this. I personally like to use stuff that I have lying around, like scraps of like post-it notes, and I do a lot of washi tape lying around and like ribbons, so that's stuff that I use in there. It's not anything that I got specifically to do this. So keep that in mind when you're making yours. This is so for you. It's so personal. Don't be intimidated by this. I'm going to kind of give you a breakdown of what I do and provide some resources and links in the description on how other people do it so that you can kind of start accumulating your ideas. And even if you go into this and you've never done it before, like with a plan, like this is how I'm going to set it up exactly, whether you're copying someone else or you have kind of planned what you think is going to work for you, you're going to find it's a lot of trial and error. I think I used so many bullet journals set up just in ways that kind of weren't the most effective for me before I got to this method. And this is not as elaborate at all as a lot of the other people out there, but it's what works for me, and that's what this is about. I feel like this was a little bit of a long introduction, I'm sorry, but without further ado, I am going to get a close-up on my desk with all my stuff on it here, and I'll show you guys how I set this up. Okay, so here is my journal. Like I said, it is a thicker one. It has a calendar in it, and it has some places for dates and some graph paper. And then here's everything I'm going to use to set this up and the stuff that I'm going to use to write in it daily. I've got some scissors, I've got some post-it notes, I have a lot of washi tape here, which is just kind of what I have lying around to decorate with, and then I also have some different colored pens and some Sharpies and a bunch of different colored highlighters that I'm going to use to set it up and to write in it every day. And the first thing I do whenever I get a new bullet journal is I take a post-it note and I stick it on the front page and I tape it down with washi tape and I put my contact information on it. This is just in case I lose it, someone can get it back to me. I usually just put my email and my phone number. Something I like about this journal specifically is that it not only has a calendar for the next 4 calendar years, but it also has a list of important dates. And then if you turn to the very next page, it has a breakdown by month where you can write things in. I will eventually get around to writing in my academic calendar for this semester, but I'm not going to do that today. In my personal opinion, the first page of any bullet journal should always be the key. So I am just going to cover up my date section here with washi tape to decorate it a little bit because I don't need the date on this page. And then you guys are going to see me set up my key for this journal. I am literally going to copy this key out of my old bullet journal because it has taken me a while to perfect, but I have it down to a science at this point. My key for how I denotate anything that I write in this journal goes in the left column. And you want to make sure that anytime you write in this journal, you're going to use one of these marks so that you know what you're looking at. But first I want to tell you how I do my color key. I'm a student and I'm a full-time student, so I have 5 classes this semester. So I choose a different color for every single class, and every time I write something for that class, I highlight it in that color. And then I also have a color for work. I work 2 different jobs right now, but work and school are 2 of the most important things, so I just want to make sure that when I look at them, if I need to write something for them, that's what pops out to me. I'm going to show you guys a quick close-up of my key. In case you were wondering, there are lots of different ways you can do this, and I'll link some more resources in the description, but this is the way that I do mine. Any normal task that I start is just an open square, and then once I start it, I color it half in. When I finish it, I color it all the way in. If I don't need to do it, it gets an X. If I move it to the next day, it gets an arrow. If it's irrelevant, I cross it out. Any event that's going on or thing that I have to go to is an open circle. When it's over, it gets colored in. When it's canceled, it gets an X. If it becomes irrelevant, it gets crossed out. If I write something that I think is important or a priority, it gets a star. Due dates get exclamation points. Quotes get quotation marks, obviously. Any random writings get a little heart, and any note or miscellaneous thing just gets a little bullet point. The page after my key is my index page, and I'm not really going to be able to fill this in too much yet until I get the rest of my stuff in there, but I'm just going to title it, and then I'm going to number the pages at the bottom of my bullet journal, and I'm not going to do them all right away. I tend to number as I go, but this at least gives me a starting point. For 8 pages, I will write their title and what page number they're on in my index here, and every time I do that, I'll just come back and write it on this front page so that I know where everything in this journal is. The next thing going in my bullet journal is calendars. This is going to take up the next couple pages because rather than put the calendar right before the month starts, like a lot of people like to do, I like to have a reference I can look at long term right in the beginning. I printed these calendars from the Organized Students blog. I will link her Tumblr in the description. It is an amazing resource for a lot of printables and just a great blog in general if you're into this kind of stuff. But anyway, this is where I got these from, and I just printed them out in the right size for my notebook, and then I'm going to decorate them a little bit. I have scrapbooking scissors and highlighters, nothing fancy, and then I'm literally going to tape them into the next couple pages because I am too lazy to even glue them. I am going to have calendars for August through December in the front of my journal. That's just for the semester. You can do as long as you think you're going to have the journal for. I think I'll have mine a little longer than this semester, but I don't want to have too many calendars in the front
So when I need to put those in, I'll put those in on another page. Like I said, don't sweat the organization of this. I will just put a post-it tab on the end so I can reference those pages later. But right now I'm just worrying about this semester. So you're just going to see me decorate all these and tape them in. And now it's time for the next page. This is not something any place online has ever told me to do. This is something I came up with on my own, but your next couple pages are going to be for anything else that you want a quick reference for. For example, my next 2 pages are going to be a spread, and the title is going to be due dates. I am so bad at keeping on top of due dates, so I want a page in the front of my journal that I just dedicate to writing down when I need to have things done by. So you can have any kind of thing that you need to remember written here. This is where you can start making it personal. Now you see me going back and writing in what I've done so far in my index. I'm just going to check the page numbers, write the title, and then write the page they're on. And then you see me realize that I forgot to leave a 2-page spread for my index, so I divide it into 2 columns to give myself a little more room. And now I'm all done setting up. My next pages are blank, and they will be for my daily layout. I'm going to show you guys what a daily layout looks like in my old bullet journal. As you can see, it tends to be kind of the date on the top and then an overview of what the day looks like and the tasks I need to accomplish in a bulleted list. And then on the sticky notes, I always write my homework and highlight the homework in the color that corresponds with the class. I also tend to doodle a lot and stick washi tape in there, but you don't have to do it like that. You can just stick to lists or whatever. That's just what my daily layout looks like. If I flip through, you can see I have all kinds of writing in here. If I go to another daily layout, you can see that my left page here kind of looks the same, but on my right page I've started some essays because it's convenient that I have this book all the time, so I start essays in it all the time. And then here is just a close-up of what one of my normal days looks like. So here's a quick flip through of what I've already set up just so that you guys can see what that looks like. Just my initial pages and my calendars. And then I'm going to stick some post-it notes just in random pages all over because I use a lot of post-it notes in this bullet journal to keep myself organized so that I can move them around to different pages whenever I'm working on something that needs to move. So rather than carry around a big pack of post-it notes with me all the time, I'm just going to stick a bunch in here and I can move them when I need them.
Thank you guys for watching. Let me know how you set up your bullet journal and if you have organization tips that work for you because I need them and probably other people do too. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this.